Hey guys, it's Erin. Happily we go, and it's Flow Day. So as you know, this is the Flowish journal that I got from Tiffany, Southern Gals Designs, and I will link her channel down in the description box below. And I have to choose 3 things out of this journal. Now, every month, actually twice a month, we do projects and we pull 3 things out and then do projects on our YouTube channel. And I'm just pulling out some ideas. I got 3 things right here, so let's roll with it. So one thing I've been really wanting to do is, well, there's my square journal, we're going to work with that, but I've been really wanting to do a image transfer. And so I found this girl, and I'm just going to show you some magazines. I picked those up at a Goodwill for like 50 cents each. So if you don't want to spend a lot of money on a magazine, try and find one at a thrift store, or sometimes libraries have a free section. So I'm just taking packing tape and I'm covering my image, and I am covering over top of the other packing tape so that way there's no spaces in between the tape, so you can see it there. And now we want to burnish it down. So I have my bone folder here, and I'm just going to press hard and push the tape up against the image really good. So we're going to burnish this down. And as you can see if you look there, there's kind of like little bubblies, and you can tell it's not stuck down. So I'm going to press it really hard here, and now look, see, you can see it's smooth right where her cheek was. You don't see those little bubblies anymore, and that's the effect that you want. Now Tiffany did this video, she did a how-to forever ago, and I will try and find that video and link that down below as well, so you can watch her video. And now I'm going to rip around the outside of the tape. I'm not cutting out my girl yet, I'm leaving it there, and I've got a bowl of warm water here. Bye-bye, sweet pea. Go take a swim. So we're going to stick her in there and pop her off to the side. All right, so here's the square journal. It's a little bit messed up because I got excited with my matte medium on my last project, so whatever. And speaking of matte medium, I had one of my good friends ask me, do you have to use matte medium? What else can you use? Guess what? I'm just using some good old Elmer's Glue All here to glue down my page. You don't have to have expensive products to do art. Use what you have on hand, whatever you can afford, you can make it work. So I'm going to just cut out. I'm going easy peasy. Here is the first pick from my flow, and it's this magazine jelly print that Tiffany did, and we're going to use that as our instant background. Now, because that white is showing on the side where the spirals are, you know I dislike that. I want to take a little bit of white. I'm adding some of the Lucas acrylic white paint here off to the side. And I'm going to take this, look at this teeny tiny little baby brayer, and I'm just going to bray the white paint all over. And I've decided that this week's flow, I am not going to be perfect. Well, I say that now, but no, for real. Like, I'm just going to push myself and try things, and if it doesn't work out, I'm totally okay with that. If we end up with a hot mess, I'm totally okay with that too. So now that I did take a paper towel and I wiped some of that off, and now I have these awesome paint daubers. These are old from Ranger. I think I got them at like Tuesday morning for super cheap. But I'm just pushing it through a stencil, and look at that, so quick and easy. And then I'm going to dry it, and now we're going to take another stencil here and another one of those. This is a distress paint with the dauber top, and we're just going to go ahead and go through some of those words just to add to our background. I'm pulling colors that were in the background, and those are the paints that I'm using. And then go ahead and dry that too. Then we're going to add one more stencil, and we've got that chip sapphire. I love that chip sapphire color. It's so pretty. It's so deep. And I'm just going to randomly grab some dots, and then we'll flip it over and just add a little bit extra paint there on that one side, and then make sure you dry it up. So let's set that off to the side and check on our little girl. And look at this. I don't think I've ever had it pull away so easily. I can actually reuse that background there from the other page. I can dry that and reuse it on something else, so that's pretty exciting. And now we're going to go ahead and just dry her. Take a paper towel and dry her off. And as you can see, look at that. You can see right through her. Isn't that such a great effect? So I want to cut out her head now. You could leave it plain if you wanted to, but I just sort of wanted to have it. And I'm not doing super close to her head. I'm giving a little bit of a border around there. But as you can see, she's, kind of, it's a cool effect, but she's kind of fades to the background. So I thought, let's pull in the flow number 2, and we're going to use that old letter that Tiffany put in the flow, and I want to glue her down. So I'm just going to throw some matte medium on the back side of our little girlie's head, because this ink is old and I will bet you it will run. So don't try and put ink directly onto old paper. It will probably bleed and then you'll be really sad. So I'm going to, and as you can see, once I press this down, it does move a little bit and kind of bleeds, but that's okay. We'll roll with it. So isn't that cool? That's such a neat effect. I love that. Michelle has been doing a lot of these image transfers with the words behind it, and I think Tiffany has too, but I've loved it and I've been wanting to do it. So now, guess what? We're gonna cut out some little hexagon shapes here, because you know it wouldn't be an Erin video if I didn't meticulously cut out a whole bunch of really tiny, crazy things. So that's what we're gonna do. And there we go. Now we have them. Now before we can put those down, we kind of need to glue down our girl. So I'm going to grab my matte medium, which is, I need to find the new bottle. Just smudge it on with my fingers because ain't nobody got time for a brush. And then I want to make sure that her head is at the top because her head's cut off. We can mess with the bottom, but you can't really mess with the top. So we're going to stick her there. And then I'm just going to push around the sides here with whatever glue is on my fingers. And then I have this weathered wood, and the background was just sort of like kapow, and I thought maybe I could mute it down. And I like this weathered wood color because it's kind of whitish, but it has, you know, the hints of blue. And I'm haphazardly brushing it all over the entire page. You're probably going, what the heck are you doing? But we're going to help kind of get this girl into the page instead of sitting just on top of it. And now I'm going to take a paper towel and just pull up a little bit of that so we can bring back some of that color. And I did spray a little bit of water on that left side of the page and rubbed it off. Now I'm just taking the paint and I was like, what if we just rubbed it right over top of her face? Because today's page is all about pushing limits. You know, it may not look good, but it's art. So it can't look bad. Oh no, it can look bad, but you don't know how something is going to look unless you try it. So just try it and then you'll know for the next time. And now I'm going to use this Montana Acrylics marker. This color's so gorgeous. And you guys, if you have a Michael's close by, even if it's not close by, run, don't walk over to your Michael's, because all of these, well, most of them are on clearance. And I got that sweet gem here for like under $2.50, and they're normally a $10 pen. So hello, good deal. And you know me, I'm an enabler and I'm going to share all the good sales. So I'm just rubbing it all over, and I want to make sure her eyes are clear, so I'm rubbing the paint off of there. And then I want to put my hexagons on, but wait, first we got to dry. Always dry between your layers. And now we're just going to go ahead and lay out how we want those to go. I had this vision of them kind of going across the page back behind her neck, so that's sort of how I'm laying them out. And now that I've got my pattern, I'm just taking the UHU Glue Stick, and I'm doing it off camera here, but I'm just rubbing it over the top of it and gluing it back on down. All right, then make sure they're pressed all down, and then look at, you can rub it a little bit with your finger, but I have this little sandpaper that I leave on the side of my desk, and I'm just gonna sand a little bit of the paint off of her, kind of scrub her up a little bit. Oh, and see, then I went onto the page and started scrubbing up some of my other art there. That's not good, but it's all good. And now I have this cool stencil, and I thought, wouldn't it be neat to have lines going out from the back of her? So I am, well, zoom in here, and I'm gonna take another paint marker from Montana Acrylics, and I'm not even doing it super carefully. So if you have OCD, don't skip through this part because it might drive you crazy. But and I'm not being real careful, I'm just kind of going through each one to give it the effect. And I went over the paper there. Hey, it's all good, I'm not gonna worry because this is play. See, isn't that kind of neat? And then I'm gonna pull this out and then sort of just kind of go over where it didn't really mark her all that well, and they're not perfectly straight lines, which is, you know me, I like to break out my ruler, but that's okay. And then I'm going to do the same thing on this other side as well. Now, this part makes me laugh. I did break out the ruler, but I couldn't find a pen. I was using this. I thought I grabbed my regular Faber Castell, but I grabbed a brush marker. So if you've ever tried to draw a straight line with a brush marker, you're going to get fat, thin, like all over the place. So yeah, I don't know. I guess it sort of gave me a guide. I definitely don't even use it on the other side, and it makes it all wonky, but I kind of like that they're wonky lines, that they're all different size. So you can see there, I finished them all up, and then I went ahead and went around different thicknesses around my little hexagons with the black. Now I wanted my girl to pop a little bit more, so I have this pretty yellow, I guess this video is going to be all about the Montana paint pens, because hello, I have a bazillion of them now that were super sailed. So now I'm just going to, this is a really fine tip one, and they didn't have that color in the bigger one, but I'm just going to go around her head and sort of give her like a aura, I guess we'll call it, just to kind of have her pop a little bit up off the background. And right here, as you can see, I smudged some of that black Pitt pen. Arg! But it's all good because we're learning it now. I know for next time, hey, don't be smearing paint next to that pen. Now I have my distressed crayon because I wasn't sure what to do next. And when Erin doesn't know what to do, yeah, she grunges. So I'm just going to go around. I'm trying to cover up those pesky spirals there and just sort of going around the page with a wee bit of grunge. Then I got a little heavy-handed with the distress crayon, so I'm just going to add a little bit more of that yellow back there. Now check this out. This is a correction pen. It's a Jot pen I got at the Dollar Tree, 2 for $1. I am out of my white gel pen and I have them on order. They haven't arrived yet. So I thought, what else could I use that would give me sort of that effect? Yeah, it kind of has a wee bit of a stink, but let me tell you, this stuff is pretty awesome. The other great thing about this is if you put it somewhere and you're not so happy with it, you could totally chip it off with a fingernail or something. So I'm just gonna do some doodles here and take this moment to remind you to head on over to Tiffany's channel to see what 3 items she chose from the Flowist journal I sent her to create her project today. And we're just doodling away here. Look how easy that is. It's awesome. Look at the different thicknesses you could get with that pen. Super fat down to that super teeny tiny. So it is pretty versatile for being, you know, an office supply correction pen. Now, I'm a little bit off camera here because I had zoomed in close and forgot that I had done that. But I am taking another strip. I'm starting to get ready for my sentiment, but my girl's floating. She like has this cut off neck and I wanted to kind of collage, or what do you call it? Camouflage. There you go. Collage. We're doing a collage, but we're going to camouflage. So now I had a black piece of paper and I took that same paint pen that I did the lines with and I'm going around the outside of where I was going to put that black piece of paper. So it's not just like stark black. It's kind of blending around there. And there I go. Now I push it up and I'm just using some UHU Glue Stick here, as you can see, to glue it back down. And then I have a piece of the background that I had cut off and ripped it out, and I'm going to add that to it as well. So it's going to bring some more of those colors we have in the background back to the foreground. And then there's that white little strip there on the top, and I thought let's just bring it down to the bottom side and add a little bit more of that correction stuff there. So now it's kind of balanced. And then I was thinking I maybe wanted to do the same thing at the top of her head as well and sort of frame her in. So I ripped off another piece of black cardstock and I'm going to glue it down and then use this, get another piece of that background and do the same thing. had a bunch of little scraps left, so I was just kind of auditioning and testing out which one I had wanted to put there. And I decided to go with the little mini one. Another little mini one. And I ripped it some more, and then we'll just glue it down. Sometimes I get so fickle and I like glue something down. I'm like, there, it's done. Oh no, it's not. I'm going to pull it back up again. And this time I just decided to flip it over the back side. But then I decided I wanted to cut it too. So, you know, nah, you are who you are. You can't change it. So now we have that down. And I'm thinking we need to work on the sentiment. So I've got my stickers. Oh, actually, I'm going to add a little bit more of the white so it kind of matches with what we did down below. And I have the Tim Holtz stickers. It's like a page of different sayings. And I thought, you know what, this page is like crazy, psychedelic, futuristic, which we're getting to that part, you'll see, you know, 80s, whatever. So life is a big grand adventure, and you know, has the writing on her face, so own your story, which I think is great. Everybody has a story, and everybody should tell their story in some way, and I tell mine through art. So now again, look at, I decided, wait, at the last minute, I wanted to add some of that kind of, it's like a neon green threading, but it sort of looks like it matches with that yellowy. So I pulled up that piece of the sentiment, threw it down there, and then re-glue sticked it down. Glue sticked it? I'm not sure if that's a word, but hey, we're gonna make it one today. There, so now I'm thinking, what are we gonna do next? Are we done? Oh, look, I found my Sharpie paint pen. So we're gonna add a little dot there. And now comes the futuristic part. A lot of times, especially with like Tiffany's Inky Girls and stuff, she throws just this cutout shape over their faces, and I have never done it. And hey, this page is all about pushing limits and trying new things, so that's totally what I'm gonna do. So I have these weird wonky rectangle sort of you know, like diamond things that I'm going to add to her face. And yeah, so it was just part of the background paper. We're trying to finish that up, and I cut the one, and then I used that inside piece to cut the other one. And now I can't remember how I did it before, but we'll get there. And we'll slide it. Ta-da! All right, it wasn't exactly like it, but it's gonna work. So I'm just pressing it down there with my fingers. And yeah, I don't know. It's so out of character for Erin. So I'm grabbing a neon orange gel pen, and I'm just going to throw some dots around these hexagons while I think what else I want to do, because the page isn't busy enough, right? But this is a play page, people. It's play, and that's what you're supposed to do. Just keep doing stuff, you know? Like, hey, it's play. Playing is fun, and now I know how a shape will look on a face if I do it in the future. Or how, you know, a brush pen does lines, you know, it's all about learning through play. Speaking of brush pen, I brought that back just to add a couple more dots here while I'm debating on how to finish the page. Then I thought it needed a little circle where they met, so I cut a little circle out, and I'm taking the Sharpie paint pen and I'm just scribbling over the top of it. And then I was like, let's just draw some doodle lines here, because this is, you know, this is where the intuitive comes in. What should be done? Then I thought that blank piece of little strip there needed some writing. I don't even remember what I wrote there, but it was something that felt important to me at the time to put down into my art. And then I'm adding some more dots to kind of bring that piece in, and adding some black lines here just because, and then doing some doodle circles here. And I think that's going to be done. Woohoo! We finished. It was a journey. I thank you guys so much for being with me and playing today. I hope you're able to get into your creative space and get playing. Until next time, happy creating.